I have 4 o'clock. I'd like to call this meeting to order. Could I have a motion to approve the agenda?
Motion for agenda.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Let's stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. Do we have any public comment today?
Judy, it's Tom
Really?
Wagner. I'd like to comment.
We have somebody else ahead of you. Just a minute, Tom.
Okay, thank you.
Hi, I'm Shirley Long, and on J52, north of Jeff Miller's, the bridge that goes across the little creek on the southeast corner is completely washed out. There's a hole straight down and it's cleared back up to the highway. And also, if they might think of working on Maple Avenue, south of College Springs, it is just so bumpy, you have to drive in the center of the road to even think of missing the holes. I mean, they're not holes, they're just, the road is just so uneven. And then also, as you go up the old H Road, just east of Andy Audie's, that road is terrible from the bridge just that goes across the West Harp there to the J20.
Got all that, JD? You have a question? He'll talk to her. Okay. We'll have the engineer talk to you, Shirley. Okay. Any other comments? Okay.
Tom Wagner.
Oh, sorry, Tom.
Go ahead, Tom.
Okay, on the 1st of April, I talked to JD and wanted a couple answers. I did not get any. It was concerning the rock. I see your contract with Schilberg. That's going to compute to 300 tons per mile. And that application results in 113 pounds per lineal foot. Out on 160th Street, they'd placed rock the 2nd or 3rd week of March. And I discussed this with JD. I said, if that truck hauls 25 ton, which he agreed, and you apply that in 200 lineal feet, you're up to 250 pounds per lineal foot. And we know it's been dry. Everybody has had burn bans and extremely dry, windy. And the week before the last full week of March, this road had been bladed. And so that new rock, a lot of that has been bladed over to the side of the road. And dirt brought up on the roadway, and it's common knowledge, when you manipulate material, you segregate it. And so coarser material gets placed, larger percentage gets placed out there in that windrow. The fines are on the roadway. There happened to be a lot of truck traffic after that, and the dust was horrible. And I did request the dust application. I did want the commercial one. I didn't see that one on the requirements, but I see that the price has dramatically increased. They're talking $799 for 300 feet, and an additional 100 foot would be another $266. So you're talking over $1,000 for only 400 feet. And that situation, the dust, is a result of that blading, and anybody with any degree in soils, mineral aggregates, you know that every material has an optimum moisture content for compaction. Well, you're not even close in our extreme dry conditions, low humidities, high wind. And so the terrible unsafe condition caused by that, and then the taxpayers are expected to pay $1,000. And in your Shenandoah, it was brought to my attention, the Shenandoah Hills road use agreement, it states that utilization of dust mitigation and control measures on road surfaces, including but not limited to the use of magnesium chloride in water to provide adequate, and it says site, S-I-T-E, I would assume that should have been S-I-G-H-T, distance for vehicles and users of the unpaved road. And so that in itself is making a statement on one hand, but yet actions are definitely contradictory to that for the residents of the county. And in talking to JD about this schooling that is to take place, because in the minutes it says you have 3 new operators and they began training. Well, who's doing the training? I asked JD, how's come you have that motor grader blading that road? He said, well, we leave that up to the operators. He also stated that he was not a motor grader operator. And I said to him, I've got plenty of photos. Do you need, I would like to come and say, please don't do this. This is wasting money, taxpayers' money. And so it's hard to understand who's doing the training and this other outfit, whomever the county is going to pay. What are the charges? What are their credentials? And what do they have to say about putting new rock aggregate on the roadway and immediately coming along, blading it off? JD said, well, it's there for when it gets wet. Well, folks, we've had plenty of rain. If that rock would have been in place, then the moisture would be there for traffic to go ahead and get that incorporated into the existing roadway. And this subject has been discussed with the supervisors in the past. Thank you.
Thanks, Tom. And we don't have anything to say about the dust control costs. That's not us. So that's the people who are applying it.
No, it is though the supervisor's job to oversee the best for the county residents. Is that correct?
Well, we don't have anything to do with the dust control. That's what I was saying.
Okay, so let me phrase it this way. Is it common sense, or what common sense explanation if county money is spent on needless blading, and especially when conditions are not even close to being ideal, but yet then expect residents to pay for the nasty conditions as a result of that unneeded blading in conditions that goes against any engineering, anything you can find in any engineering book on roadway construction.
I can't answer that one, Tom.
But
That's
the
our
point,
engineer.
the point
It's
I
up to our
want,
engineer. I know.
what was that?
I said that's up to our engineer to oversee this.
And Tom, I would just say one thing that's why we're bringing in this group to train our new operators and things on some of those techniques and things that will hopefully improve the conditions of the road. I get the fact that, yeah, gravel, it's been terrible. It's been awful dry. Dust has been really bad this year on the dusty roads, the gravel roads. It's just because it's been a real dry year. But, comparing it to the road use agreement, one of the reasons we had that in place on the road use agreement was just because of the heavy truck traffic. And we wanted people to be safe and be able to see. And granted, we don't have that spread across the county as far as road, as a agreement with a different company. But, hopefully our hope is that we keep getting this group in every 2 years or so and give our guys refresher courses and keep them up on training and keep them up on processes. And that will pay dividends in the long run.
Can a person get the information of that company, their instructors, what they're paid? And I would like to ask them, how do you address this situation? Because I've got many photos of just the facts.
They came highly recommended. They have good experience, if I remember correctly, from when they were here a few years ago. And I think they had good background and they were checked out before they were hired, and other counties have hired them. So that's why we brought them in.
So my question is, though, then nobody should have any problem answering a question. How's come we have these deficiencies or these conditions, and who is teaching, or I know who's allowing, but who's putting the thought into somebody's head, oh, you need that windrow over there on the edge of the roadway, because once it's placed there, I'll guarantee you, while they try to retrieve it, material goes around the edge of the blade, into the ditch, it's wasted. And on the, I guess one more question on that subject of windrow, why is that placed prior to winter? So there are frozen chunks of some aggregate, some sod, and it's left on that roadway all winter long. Is that to enhance safety? Or is there a liability there?
We'll discuss this with the engineer and move forward with that, with the company that's coming in.
I will send you some questions. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Tom. Okay, JD, it's time for the engineer's update. No, there was no more public comment.
Good afternoon, JD King, Page County Engineer. Sun shining in Page County. It's just above the clouds, but it's there. One comment that didn't make the engineer's update when I sent it out Monday afternoon was this morning in the northeast part of the county, we sent out 4 snowplow trucks.
Oh,
The majority of the county got rain, but there was some snow in the northeast part. They went out at 5, they were back in by 7.
they were back in when?
7.
7.
So with the rain last week and yesterday, the blades have been out. They were out before rain this week. The last couple of days were burning brush in the rain, hauling rock with 3 trucks. The crew with the shear was cutting trees in Norwich. And next they're gonna go north on G Avenue and remove an abandoned field entrance bridge. Given the history there north of Essex, we're working on field entrance bridges that aren't being used, get them out of the system, preclude accidents. Got a couple crews cleaning on bridge decks after the winter season. One crew north, one crew south. Before it rained, they were pulling a magnet on the farm to market routes. Also where the motor graders pulled in the edge or cut the edge and pulled it in. We're running the magnet there also. Work in the shop includes couple motor graders were in the shop today. One's leaking oil. The other was getting some cutting edges replaced. A technician from Ziegler's supposed to come down later this week or perhaps the next week to do some welding on the old holes, the boom of the old hole. We've got an old sheriff pickup that Secondary Roads purchased. We're getting it ready for use there. And they changed the tire on motor grader out of Essex. The contract that was awarded for Farm to Market Rock has been fully executed, and they should start next week. They're in Mills County now. And next week they'll move to Page County. Waiting on the DOT to come down and certify our lab. I sent a proposed 5-year county program into the DOT for review. They noted some errors in it and sent it back, and I'm working on fixing those. Those are mainly some mapping issues. Still continue to work on the right-of-way negotiations with the landowners there on Yorktown. Worked on the fiscal year 26 current year budget amendment, working on some questions. Sent those to interested parties, and Trustee had a good discussion about the parking lot. I appreciate that. Questions for me?
I don't have any. Do you have any?
Did we, so kind of going back to this, just, I have a question about this dust control thing.
Okay.
As a county, do we ever go out and put just water down to dust to control some of the dust? Or is that just pretty much a private citizen has to request that?
Right, there's a vendor, Efron, there's only one vendor this year. Although we do have a form if you want to self-apply. That's an option now. One of the vendors from last year did not choose to do business this year for whatever reason.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks, JD. Okay, we now have Chris Law from Samuel's Group on a jail update.
Afternoon, Chris Paul, Site Superintendent for the Page County Jail for the Samuels Group. It's been a busy site once again. The electricians are working, doing wire pulls, getting lighting into the building, throughout the building, I should say. And they're also working with the security contractor to get all the wire pulled to the cells, doors, anything that's going to be run through the security system, and all the data and IT wiring pulled in. Plumbing, HVAC are still working on their finishing touches, a rough in on the plumbing, water lines in the mechanical room. They're also getting some insulating done throughout the building so we can paint in those areas. And the HVAC guys are getting ductwork put up, and they're kind of waiting on the door frame or the cell front frames to get installed so they can put all the ductwork in for the detention side in the cells and day rooms. Concrete, we just put down another 80 some yards of concrete today. 40 went down yesterday, and about another 20 or 30 will go down tomorrow. They're working to get that east side done. Most of the north is done. The Sally Ports approaches are done now. The receiving dock is done. So we are now working on parking lots, curb and gutter, and we'll get the east side done, then we'll do the south side, which will be nice because with the rain and the snow, it's become kind of a muddy site again. So it'd be nice to have concrete so we don't track in the building so bad. Detention wise, the frames did show up on Monday, for the day room fronts. So they started installing those yesterday and today. They'll continue working on that through the rest of the week. The cells will be painted on Friday, so I guess, just want to get it out there, and we'll let the sheriff's department know as well, but we don't want anybody in the building on Friday, Saturday, Sunday while they paint those cells. It's got a pretty high VOC and it's gonna stink in there, so I'll probably come back on Sunday, open up some venting if the weather permits, on the skylights up above, get it vented out so that we can go right back to work on Monday. But the inside, the cells will be painted by the end of this weekend. Painting continues on the front dispatch area, non-detention side. They have pretty much all the final coats done are in the offices. We're up to the next to the last coat in the hallways. We're gonna wait to paint those until everybody's done working in there, and then he's gonna come through, do a final painting, so he doesn't have to do a bunch of touch up, which is kind of a good idea. And they're working their way back. The rest of the week, they'll be working back towards booking. And then they'll jump in next week into booking and start painting in there. The padded cells will be installed by the end of the week. They'll paint, they were sanding today, they'll paint tomorrow and Friday and should be out of there. So the padded cells will be completed. And all the CMUs got done this last week, so that portion of the job is completed. Visitation, offender, lawyer, attorney rooms are now completed. The frames are in there, so working on reception. So it's a busy site once again. We got a lot of people coming out. The sheriff's been bringing some people out, taking a look. We encourage you to come out except for Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Any questions?
We went last Friday. Last Friday, was it Friday?
Right.
Yeah. I'm amazed. It's just, fully taken shape, and
Yeah.
I'm sure more now with the frames coming.
Give it a couple more weeks, come back out. It'll look a whole lot different,
Yeah.
especially back in detention. They did start grid work today too. So actually the faults, the ACT ceilings or false ceilings are going in. So that always, when they do that and they start dropping lights in, it starts to look like a building.
Yeah.
Next week, they're gonna start tiling the bathrooms out. So the finishes are starting to go in on the non-detention side. So that'll really start to look like a building.
Yep, just
So-
moving along.
You bet.
Thanks,
All right,
Chris.
thank you.
It's beginning to look like a jail. Okay, our next item is to discuss action, the VA building paint. We received 3 different bids. One was from Tompkins Painting in Shenandoah. One from Sweet Life Painting out of Council Bluffs. And another one from Gator Renovations in Farragut. The prices, I'll put it in the order, okay. Sweet Life Painting out of Council Bluffs bid was $4,270. Actually, this is an estimate. $4,270. Tompkins Painting is $6,980.15. And Gator Renovations is $8,250. It looks like, what they're going to do is they're going to power wash. They're going to wire brush the foundation, and then they'll apply a metal bonding paint, and then a metal primer, and then the metal paint. So it looks like it's pretty bad pretty bad looking in places, so. It looks like it's covered as far as what they're going to be doing with it. So do I hear any comments or any motions?
Where's is this coming out of the building maintenance funds, or
Do we have money in there for that?
where do we,
Yeah,
okay,
we have quite a bit in local options, so we can cover some of that.
well, based off the bids, I think we have to go to the lowest,
Well,
pretty much.
especially with the difference there is in them. I would say we would look at the low bid.
Yeah.
I hear a motion.
Looks to me like only one of them was a bid, the other one's just an estimate. So,
Do we want to do further research? Ask more questions?
Yeah, I guess when I asked all these three businesses, I asked for a quote on the painting price. So I didn't really ask for a bid. Some put a bid, some put
An
estimate.
estimate, yeah.
Yeah, however, they wrote it, I'm guessing now, so I don't know if with an estimate, can you hold them to the estimate cost, or is that just, I mean, I would have to ask them.
Would have to ask, yeah.
Yeah, if that was,
Do you want to research that a little bit more before we make a decision? Seems like the prudent thing to do.
yeah, just to make sure
Yeah.
that we can stick to that price. But I can sure do that.
Okay.
For next week.
Okay, why don't we do that and put it on next week's agenda then?
Okay.
Okay. So we'll table that until next week. Get further information. Okay. All right. We'll move on to board communication. I had an interagency meeting today. Good discussion as usual, with all kinds of information passed between Catholic Charities, like Page County Extension, Wabansie, Southwest Iowa Families, NAMI. Most of those were the ones that were there today. There was another meeting going on at the same time, which took some of the people, but it was all very interesting, and a big part of the thing that's happening now is that people are looking for housing. They're losing housing and need to find housing, and it's just not available and not available in the price range that people can afford. So that's been a big thing that, um, that everybody's working on and finding out in all different areas, because Catholic Charities covers, I think, 9 counties, and so do several of the other things. So anyway, they all work together, which is amazing, and trying to help each other. Oh, Clarinda Hospital was there also. So that's one of the big things, is that people are losing housing and trying to find housing, and it just isn't available at this point. So that's one of the big things they're working on right now. Is trying to help people. And nobody has any money to really give them to help. That's the whole problem. So, it's a very sad situation, and it's sad that our HHS has changed so much, that we don't have money to help. So anyway, that was mine. Anybody else? Do you had a,
At landfill
Landfill?
meeting, working on the budget. And we do need some gravel out there on that road, highly traveled road. And it was really soft on the south sides of those hills, so. Maybe we put a bug in somebody's ear to observe. And
okay,
then also the approach coming off of Highway 2, that concrete is getting disarrayed, cracks, and it needs to be taken care of before it gets any worse.
so is that
That's
does
cool.
that have to do with Highway 2,
Right
the
up
state?
Well, no,
Or is
it's,
that ours?
they, state did that when they did Highway 2, but.
But it's
we
now
gotta-
ours.
We gotta maintain it,
Okay.
so it needs to be maintained.
So you'll talk to JD about that.
I'll let you talk to JD about that.
Okay. Okay,
Definitely need some gravel, because it is really soft and weak.
okay. I will talk to JD. Okay. Any other meetings, Todd?
No,
Not this week?
No.
Okay. All right, our next item is to discuss and approve claims.
I got a question.
Okay,
So on the highlighted, budgets that are over on their percentages, so we cover that with amendments? Or,
it could, go ahead.
cause,
Some of them will be amendments that we can talk about at the next, when we do budget amendments. And some of them are just, they're over because they spent early in the, like a lot of times for IT, we have to pay our contract for solutions in the beginning of the year.
right,
And so then it's over the percentage, but it's not gonna be over, at the end of the budget. Does that make sense?
yeah,
Yeah,
okay,
it's,
and then, like, well, in the county farm, then,
well, the county
So
fund
that's
is gonna be an amendment.
okay.
Cause that was the taxes.
That was
Yeah.
when we had to pay taxes, yeah,
Yep, I remember, okay,
yeah.
And then like the jail,
which is in the sheriff's budget,
Yeah.
right? And that's gonna be in its own budget, or,
Yeah, but
Okay.
that's gonna be an amendment also, and then,
JD sent me his today,
yeah,
just a few minutes ago.
we'd asked for it earlier, but
okay,
didn't get all the information. The sheriff will have a couple changes. They sold one pickup to the engineers, to the secondary road department. Conservation had some money coming in, but we'll talk about that. But anyway, those,
The roads,
yeah.
we had to pay and then we got paid back, so.
right,
So we'll amend revenue and expenditure for that.
okay,
So that's $1 million, I think, close to that, whatever. So, yeah, we'll get that done. We want to get through the budget first, before we do the amendment. The amendment's not, it's gonna be big and it's gonna be messy. Won't say it's messy, but it's gonna be something that we're gonna have to explain. There's just a lot.
Changes.
Yeah, so yeah, with the jail, with the roof, the courthouse roof. We got money in, we're gonna have money going out, we got,
Any
Yeah.
more update on that? When they're gonna start?
not yet, we signed the contract is signed, so hopefully it will be moving forward quickly, but we'll see. And then, as I told Chris, and I saw Pete this morning at the dentist's office, and he said they were trying to find a time to go down and go through the jail with the people from insurance, from ICAP. But the time they were looking at was evidently this weekend when they're gonna be painting. And Chris had told us when we were down there the other day that they would spray painting the inside of the jail cells, and that stuff is toxic, and it's non-picking paint and all kinds of stuff that they have to do with the jail, the cells, so. Anyway. Okay, so do we want to approve the claims?
I'll make a motion to approve claims.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And our meeting minutes from last week. 31st. I move those be approved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. There, I did it, one. Okay. I think that's all. We're going to have a little short budget workshop after our meeting, so anyway, I need to have a motion to adjourn.
Motion adjourned.
Second,
Second, I'm sorry.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, okay,
I did.
okay, 4:36.